right now, all right, so we're looking at what's happening since February 19th. And I say February 19th because if you look at the stock market, we were at an all-time high.
Hmm.
And usually the stock market goes up, it pulls back, goes up, pulls back, goes up, pulls back, goes up, pulls back.
Right.
All right. But generally, the stock market goes up and to the right. All right.
Hmm.
And so let's say, forget about today's date. Let's think about pandemic date. Remember, we were in the go up, pull back, go up, pandemic went down.
Right.
And then we recovered and we've been going up ever since. All right.
Mhm.
The stock market has survived depression. I'm sorry, let me say it again. Great depressions. It has survived recessions. It has survived pandemics. It will survive tariffs and people with no plan. It will.
Hey everyone, welcome to Unapologetically 50 Plus. My name is Angela. So today we are breaking down 8 must ask money questions every woman in midlife should consider when it comes to investing, savings, budgeting, and financial freedom. My guest today is D Watkins from Brown Girls Invest Too. But before I bring her on, I have one huge favor to ask. If you find any value or enjoy the content, please remember to like and subscribe and let YouTube know you want more of this content. It's free and you are helping us build this community. So thank you. We truly appreciate your support. Also, if you haven't done so, please register for our free masterclass, Rediscovering Purpose and Passion, on May 24th. Also, check out our new Stand store and some of our amazing digital products. The links will be in the description below. All right, now let's get this conversation started. Hey everyone, so welcome. Today I have Dee with me, and we are going to talk about investing. So, thank you, Dee, for joining me today. And just before we get started, Dee is not your investment strategist. She is a coach. She is not a advisor. So I just want to get that out there now before I forget. I'm sure Dee would have reminded me, but yes, she is not an advisor. She's a coach. So what we're taking away from this is for educational purposes only.
Thank
Right,
you for
Dee?
saying that. Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you for saying
I'm
that.
definitely not even a financial coach, so don't not even a little bit.
That's actually a benefit that I am not. I can tell you more than they are allowed to tell people legally. So,
Oh,
yeah. Not, well,
oh.
not that I'll be, just
No,
laying
no,
stuff
no,
out. I'm
no,
just
no.
saying
No, I'm not.
I don't benefit from this. I'm here to help people get their money straight. That's it.
Well, thank you for joining me. And so tell folks a little bit about you before we get started. Just
Okay.
tell
All
me, yeah.
right. As you said, I am D Watkins. I run a company called Brown Girls Invest Too. I've got a YouTube channel and all the socials are the same. I am a former engineer for AT&T. I worked for them for 30 years and retired a little bit over, where am I at now? 6 years, well, about 6 years and 4 months ago, right? Um, even though I retired from there, I still, right now, continue to do things just to keep me busy, Brown Girls being one of them. I am a real estate investor, which is where I actually made most of my wealth, I would say. I am originally from Chicago. I still maintain a home in Atlanta, and I currently live in San Miguel de Allende, Mexico. I've been here for I'm going to say a little bit over or close to 3 years, right? But as I said, I'm in San Miguel right now, but I started in Guadalajara. That's kind of it. I don't know. Oh, I'm sorry. And I also individually coach women. I am a financial coach, and I try and help people put themselves in a better financial position than they have been taught to be in. So there.
Well, thank you for coming on because I really wanted to, and I know you work with women of all age ranges or folks of all age ranges, but I really wanted to kind of hone in on those of us who are 50 and older,
Hmm.
because I know sometimes investing or even talking about investing finances can be a touchy subject, especially if you haven't been on that road to really investing or looking at your finances and you're looking to maybe retire soon or you're already retired. So
Mhm.
I wanted to talk a little bit in that area regarding those of us who are, in our 50s and beyond. So one of the things I noticed even for myself is the fear of investing.
Hmm.
So, can you, I mean, just briefly, how do you get over that fear of, oh my goodness, how do I invest? What do I invest in? What if the stock market does this, this, or that, like it did recently?
Right. So, first of all, I want to say, yeah, I want to speak to, it might not be as brief as you think. All right.
Okay,
I
no
want to
worries.
speak to, yeah, I want to speak to you saying that we're speaking to people over 50. That's the
Mhm.
one. So culturally, for me,
Mhm.
or for us, we've not been taught to invest, right? But I got to tell you, you're already investing, right? And when I say this, now, when I say that, that doesn't mean you're necessarily investing in real estate or in the stock market, but you are participating in a way anytime you use your dollars, right? So you could be investing in your education if you decide I'm going to go to school or pay for my child to go get some certification or whatever it is. That's an investment. Anytime you take money and put towards something that is to help you in the end, long term, that's an investment. If you look around your home, you are investing in companies by the products and services that you purchase, right? So I always give the example of two companies, one Johnson and Johnson and two Procter and Gamble. If I look at any one of your homes, you have a lot of their products. That is an investment. That means that you trust that company enough to buy their products, right? And if this is not an Apple, I don't have any Apple products, but if you own Apple products, you're making it an investment, right? You believe in that company so much that you think I'm going to own their what are these things?
Earbud.
Earbuds or whatever. You
Yeah.
own the iPhone, you own the
Right.
watch, all of those things. You own a Mac. That's an investment. If you're going to invest in their products, you may as well own the company. That is
Mm.
and so I give those examples because those are companies that you know. Those are companies that you use. You are investing already. What I want you to do is to be less of a consumer and more of a buyer and owner of companies. Does that help at all with investing? And it speaks to fear. Um, Procter and Gamble and Johnson have been around since the 1800s. That means you buy their products, your mother bought them, your grandmother bought them,
Right.
right?
Right.
If that company has been here that long, there's a good chance it ain't going nowhere. All right.
Right.
So you don't have to be fearful of good, solid companies. You know that I don't know how long you've owned Apple products. If you're watching this, you're probably watching it on, uh, or I'm sorry, somewhere in your computer, if you're on
Mhm.
a computer or on your phone,
Mhm.
you've got a Microsoft product in there. You've got
Right.
an NVIDIA product in there.
Right.
Those are companies you may not, like NVIDIA, you may not, that might not be a household name to you, but anything that has a chip, there's probably an NVIDIA chip within that product. All right.
Okay.
So, just take it that way. These are companies that you know that you've used and you can invest in them because they've been around for so long.
And that's a good way of thinking of it. I never thought of it that way. If I'm already using the product, like you said, Procter and Gamble, those are have been around forever.
Yes.
Why not invest in those?
You trust Johnson and Johnson enough to put it on your baby.
Right.
And you've been doing it since your family's been doing it since you were a baby.
Right.
You could invest in the company.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
I like that way of thinking of it. That makes a lot
Okay.
of sense.
All right.
So, uh, how can we start investing in the stock market at 50 and or beyond? And is it still worth it at this age?
It's not only worth it, it's necessary.
Why?
Okay. It is necessary because let's compare investing to saving.
Okay.
Huh. And let me give you another category to nothing. Okay. So you could do nothing, right? You can go up to your job and say, what do you guys want me to do these 2 weeks? They tell you what to do. All right. You've done those things, they pay you. Thank you very much. So I'm going to go home and I'm going to just put my money on the dresser there. All right. Ain't nobody going to bring you no interest to your house. Okay. So that's the nothing. You just earn money. You're doing nothing there. If you decide I'm going to save my money, all right, I'm going to put it in a savings account. And hopefully you put it in the right kind of savings account. All right. So right now, I should know this, but I don't. I think you can get about 3.75 or 3.80% interest
Mhm.
on a savings account. All right. All right, so if I'm earning 3.80 right now, but the cost of living is 2% or more, you're not really earning that much. You have to be able to keep up with the cost of living.
Mhm.
All right, so now we covered nothing, we covered a savings account. Let's cover investing. All right.
Okay.
Investing is where you can make more gains with the money you have. When you put your money into things that grow in value, that is what's going to benefit you. So you said, is it worth it? Is it worth it for you to go work 30 years and just put your money on the dresser with
Mhm.
no interest? And hopefully no one stole it. Hopefully you didn't have a fire or a flood, right? Is it worth it to put money in a savings account? And I mentioned if you had it in the right savings account.
Mhm.
Now, I gave you the better scenario of saying 3.75 versus or 3.80. A lot of people, unfortunately, have their money in big banks where they're earning 0.01%. I did not make a mistake. I said
Mhm.
0.01%, which means your money is making nothing, pretty much nothing.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, remember, I mentioned the cost of living. If you're in a bigger bank and you're only making 0.01%, you're losing money.
Mhm.
Put it to the side. Now, let's go back to investing, where you can, on average, the stock market will return between 8 to 10% annually. So that money starts to compound and starts to grow for you.
Mhm.
It is necessary for you to be able to invest, right? You will never save your way to being wealthy or save your way to even being able to take care of yourself in these days. You have to invest.
What if someone says, well, look how the stock market's been crashing. I'm losing
Okay.
money.
All right. All right. Um, right now, all right, so we're looking at what's happening since February 19th. And I say February 19th because if you look at the stock market, we were at an all-time high.
Mhm.
And usually the stock market goes up, it pulls back, goes up, pulls back, goes up, pulls back, goes up, pulls back.
Right.
All right. But generally, the stock market goes up and to the right. All right.
Mhm.
And so now you remember I said it goes up, pulls back, goes up, pulls back. So let's say, forget about today's date. Let's think about pandemic date. Remember, we were in the
Mhm.
go up, pull back, go up, pandemic went down,
Right.
and then we recovered, and we've been going up ever since. All right.
Mhm.
The stock market has survived depression. I'm sorry, let me say it again. Great depressions. It has survived recessions. It has survived pandemics. It will survive tariffs and people with no plan. It will. Should I be less politically?
No,
Uh,
it's good. It's
should
good.
I
No,
pull it
not
back
at,
in? Should I
no,
rein it
not
in
at
a bit?
all. Not at all.
All
So
right.
in other words, it
Here, let me say it another way. Let me
okay.
also add to that, right? Up,
Okay.
pull back, up, pull back. If it's pulling back, this is how you make your money. You make your money in down markets,
Mm.
right? You make your money when things are on sale, which that's what it means. If we've pulled back, and by the way, we've been recovering lately in the last few
Right.
weeks. Um, you make your money in down markets, meaning, you remember I talked about Apple, I talked about Microsoft, Johnson and Johnson, Home Depot, whatever.
Right.
Those companies are good, solid companies, right? All it means is that you're getting it on sale. Y'all like sale, don't you? right? The
B.
company, nothing changed about the company's model or about or their products or anything like that. All it says is that their stock price is cheaper. It is easier for you to get in at this price. And then when we start heading back up, you
Mhm.
just got something on sale, but now you can make greater gains. You
Okay.
are in a better position to buy in down markets than you are in a higher market where, remember, we got to fall down and come back up. So you should invest, right? And this is how you make the money.
So, would you suggest, because I've heard about dollar cost averaging and so forth,
Mhm.
is that a good way to invest so it's not so shocking to the system saying, okay, I'm putting $10,000 into whatever it is. Dollar cost averaging, is that a better way, in your opinion, to invest?
It is. Now, what I just explained to you about the go up, pull back, go up, pull back.
Mm-hmm.
So say you've been investing steadily, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so February 19th, the price of this thing was high. It was $100,
Mm-hmm.
right? But you invest no matter what. So you bought shares of something at $100,
Mm-hmm.
right? All right. Well, it's been going down. So you remember, it's the same company. Nothing's changed about the company.
Right.
Well, if it pulls back, you can still buy shares of that same company, but now you're getting at a cheaper price. So if it was $100 back in February and in March it went down to say 70, give me a round number. I'm sorry, I'm an even number, $80,
Mm-hmm.
right? So now instead of, let's do one share at $100.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, now I'm gonna buy one more share. I'm gonna buy another share at $80. So now you got two shares with a combined total of 180. Your average cost is now 90. It's no longer $100.
Mm-hmm.
If it goes down further and you buy it at $60, I'm not gonna keep doing this math, but you guys,
Right.
I
Right.
hope you understand what I'm saying, right?
Right. Right.
I can do it. Hang on. 140, 240, 243, $80. Now your average is 80.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That is dollar cost averaging. It means that you just are continually investing. Sometimes you're going to get things at a higher price. Sometimes you will get things at a lower price, but they will average out, right?
Right.
Dollar cost averaging.
Right.
That is the better way to do it. And by the way, if you're taking the same amount of money, remember I said I'm buying one share and one share.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm just taking $100 each week or each time that I buy.
Mm-hmm.
If I am only able to buy one share at $100, well, then when it gets to, let's say $50, now I can buy two shares because I'm still spending the same amount of money.
Right.
You end up getting more shares at a cheaper price.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you for that
that's
explanation.
the way to do it.
Okay. So, what are the most important first steps to take if I'm just getting serious about my finances?
All right, so from the perspective of someone 50 years old and above, if you're just getting serious, the first thing you got to do is make sure your mindset is right because
Mm,
you got to be serious.
yeah.
Right? You no longer have the same time horizon that you had to begin with. We have, there is a life cycle to earning money, right? The life cycle is like a bell curve. And between the ages of 40 and 50, generally, that is when you will make the most money in your life. Okay? Um, uh, Not just you, but
Right.
on average, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So if your income earning potential is going down, you have got to decide, oh my goodness, I've got to settle down, figure out what's important to me and prioritize, right? So you've got to be clear about your entire financial picture. Meaning now you've got to really look at your debt, you've got to look at your savings, your income, expenses, and your retirement accounts. And all of those things need to be working in tandem to your good, right? So the answer to that question is you've got to get your mind set and clear on what your purpose and your goals are. If your purpose and goal is to be able to retire in the next 5 to 10 years or whatever your time horizon is, then you've got to do things to match that,
Yeah.
to be able to get to that 5 year goal, that 10 year goal, whatever the case. Younger people have the benefit of time. They have a longer time horizon to invest. Older people have the benefit of saying, I'm done. I'm done with my playing around. This is what I need to do. You have to have intention set on retirement, set on going to get a master's, set on buying a home. When you decide that's what you want to do, I can't do brunch. Sorry, love you. Enjoy something for me. I know no drinks for me, right? I'm not gonna go get my nails done every week or whatever.
Right.
My hair, I can skip a week, right?
Right.
But again, those things all need to be working to your good and toward your goals.
Right. I had something on the tip of my tongue and I forgot that quick. See, that
Okay.
age will get you. But if I remember it, I'll come back to it.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
So is it possible to pay off debt and build wealth in your 50s?
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Again, same thing. It's your mindset,
It's your mind.
right? Um,
Oh, that's what I was going to say. You were saying about, paying off debt or cutting your expenses. And one way I think people don't think about it, of course, on the onset, you're spending money, is moving somewhere that is cheaper. Even if that means moving to another country. And that was one of the main reasons why I'm like, California is ridiculous. Can we, even with what we've saved, can we afford to live here comfortably? And that for me, that's the key word, comfortably.
right.
Or I'm not having to worry about, do I need to get another job working at, Target, not Target, excuse me, not Target,
Walmart.
Walmart. And that sounds like a no for me. And then you also think about the other expenses that you have, especially living in America. And I know that's not what we're talking about, but you know, medical that could wipe
Mm.
you out in America in in a year if something happens.
One event,
One
right?
event,
One
exactly.
event can do it.
So sometimes we have to think about that as we get older. Do you want to continue to, once you retire, struggle or begin struggling? Or do
Hmm.
you want to take that leap and say, okay, so, let me look to see if there's somewhere else I can live that's going to, one, be beneficial to my health and well-being, and two, to my finances. So that's another option.
It is. I will speak to that in a second. Most people are not going to be able to leave. They just are not.
Hmm.
It is an option to them, right? But for the people that cannot leave, I'll speak to that first, and then I'm going to
Okay.
go to the leaving portion.
Okay.
So, is it possible to do those things? Yes, it is. It's possible with intention, and you mentioned something about your expenses. A lot of times, when I help people, I show them where they have money leaking out of their budget, right? And when you can plug those leaks and be strategic about how you're using your money, putting your money into things that grow in value, that is what's going to help you. Or, and again, you attack money from every side, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I say attack it, I mean you need to reduce expenses. You need to reduce the leaks. You need to basically save money from somewhere. If
Mm-hmm.
you don't have it to save in your check, then you can save it by I don't watch TV. I don't need 5 apps, Hulu, Netflix. I don't need all those.
Right.
Reduce something. You can save money there and redirect that money to growing for you, right? All right. So once you put some things in place to save more money, and then put some more things in place to grow your money, those things work in tandem and put you in a better financial position. Now, that's for people that want to stay. Now, she mentioned leaving. I am in Mexico, and I've been in Mexico for 3 years. You have I think you've said it, so I can say it, right?
Sure. Hmm.
Yeah. You have a goal that you'll be getting toward very quickly to go to Portugal.
Right.
Most people in the U.S., blinders are put on us, and you are constantly told that you are living in one of the best places on earth.
Right.
That's not necessarily true. And once you take your blinders off and realize that healthcare in Mexico and Portugal it can be better or can be comparable to what you receive now, but here's the difference. at a much cheaper price, right? When you realize that the food that you're eating in the US is actually making you sick. And when you go, oh my goodness, he slammed his door. Sorry. When you go to a country like Mexico or Portugal and find out that the food is better for you, they have less processed food, so your health is going to get better just by virtue of eating better, right? When you realize you're in places where you can walk, places where I have a big old, I'm kind of being faded out here because there's plenty of sun out there right now.
Right.
I've been on 2 walks this morning, all right? Where you're in a place where you can walk and go and put your body in motion.
Right.
All of those things work to your good. When if you're in the US, you getting, hopefully if you have a car, you get in your car, you drive to work, you leave work, you come home,
Mm-hmm.
you
Sit and watch TV. Right.
sit and watch TV, eat bad food.
Right.
Mm-mm. That's
Right.
not the way you do that,
Nope.
right? Um, you are able to go and brunch and meet people and people watch and exercise your body
Right.
by living somewhere else. I said I'm originally from Chicago. Chicago shuts you down for eight, eight. I'll do eight. Eight, no, don't do that. 7 months out of the year. Okay. Because it's snow on the ground and because it's super cold outside.
Right.
Right. So you are stifled in that way. You will not be stifled by going to other countries where it is safer for you. And by
Mm.
the way, one thing I didn't mention, stress.
Mm.
You are encouraged to compete with people in the US. You compete with people at work. You compete with your neighbor. Oh my God, that dude got another fence. I want another fence.
Right.
They got another car, a better car. I want another car. You're competing. That's all you're doing.
Right.
And you're doing that for people. I want to look good when I drive. You can look good all you want to. If your bank account don't look good, that's you just defeated the purpose,
Right.
right? So the stress of keeping up with all the Joneses in every way, right? The stress of work, 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 right? If you're not unemployed soon, unfortunately, right? Dealing with all those things is a weight on you, right? And once you leave, that weight is lifted. You know, you just added years to your life. You added money to your bank account. You added a better outlook on life, right? So for both scenarios, whether you are staying or whether you are going to other countries, right?
Mm-hmm.
You are in a better position to be able to save and grow your wealth by going somewhere else.
Yeah.
I have a housing cost cheaper. Everything is cheaper in other countries. And if
Right.
you don't know that, start to do the research. Start looking at Angela's channel more or my channel just to
Yeah.
see what people are doing. People are out here showing you how your life can be different in another country. They're not making that up. I'm not
No.
either.
No, I can say
I'm sitting in Mexico right now. I still maintain a home in Atlanta, but I live a higher standard of life where I am right now.
I remember when I went to Portugal to do my first scouting trip, and I
Hmm.
bought 2 bags of groceries and nice size bags,
Hmm.
and it was 25 euro. I almost fell on the floor. And that was I and
You go buy 2 items and it's going to be $25 in the States.
right, exactly, exactly. So yeah, there is a way, and yes, I know everybody can't do it, but
Yeah.
if you can, at least look into it. Open your mind to it because that is going to, that could be your way of being able to retire on time or early, you know.
And I just want to add one
Sure.
thing to that. You may think you can't do it.
Mm.
Do the research. You may be able to with the money that you already have, money that you already have saved. You may not need as much. I'm sorry, let me say that again. You do not need as much money as you need in the US to live somewhere else.
Right,
So if you can maintain a certain amount to be able to live to a good standard of living, you don't have to stay in the US to do that. You just don't. It's not true.
right. Especially if you live in places like California, New York, those very high-end places. My mindset on what I need is probably way different or is way different than what I actually need to live.
I don't think I could ever live I could go to California for about 3 days before I ran out of money. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
But no, I mean, you're right. California, it's out of control, but that's a whole nother topic.
Yes.
So how do we balance saving aggressively without sacrificing quality of life? Is that possible?
Balance saving aggressively. Without, okay, again, what quality of life do you want? Right? So, I mean, you can not save if you want to. I want to maintain my standard of living. All right, go ahead and maintain it. How your
So there
stress
should
level
be,
doing?
there's going to be some sacrifices. Basically, what you're saying, you're going to have to sacrifice, especially if you're starting later. There's going to be sacrifice.
Right. And trying to maintain a certain standard of living has put you in a position where you don't have any money.
Right.
So you got to change the way you think about things. I believe in investing in things that bring money to me, right? Or bring me some benefit.
Hmm.
And if I'm investing in tomatoes when I say in tomatoes, I mean buying good food in the
Hmm.
country
Hmm.
that I'm in, I just invested in my health, right?
Okay.
Um, do I want to go out to the rooftop every other week? No, I don't want to do that because I might enjoy myself for that evening. But if I can't see anything that I have as a result of it later, if that rooftop, those nice drinks I had, or that nice lunch I had, or dinner I had, and none of those things are going to provide me shelter. None of those things are going to provide me security. And none of those things give me options. I enjoyed a good meal. That's it. But that meal is going to go away in a few hours,
Right.
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
But that same money, if I put it somewhere, if I purchase a share of Home Depot or Microsoft or something like that, I will see appreciation in my money. And that money will afford me a whole bunch of meals and a whole bunch of rooftops. So
Right.
you have to make different decisions if you want different results.
Okay. Makes sense. Again, it goes back to we have to get into the mindset that we can't do things when we can't spend the way we've been spending, especially like I said, at this age, we have to really hunker down and say, look, yes, it might be tough to make these changes and the way we're used to doing things, but if we want to retire or do whatever or save or whatever it is, then there's going to be sacrifice.
Oh, yes. So I mentioned a social setting. I mentioned going to a rooftop and having drinks and a good meal with friends, right?
Mhm.
Um, Last I checked, you can still go to a liquor store and purchase that. Go get you some nice lemons. Y'all come on over. I'm gonna make this. You bring this. Let's enjoy one another,
Right.
right? You get the same result of being able to socialize, being able to have a cocktail, being able to have a good meal
Hmm.
together, right?
Right.
Versus giving that money to the owner of that rooftop company, and in 2 weeks oh man, I wish I saved that money.
Right. Yeah.
Save that money by doing different things, right?
Okay. Okay. So what kind of investment accounts make the most sense for at our age, or at my age? So there's,
Uh, okay, I'm sorry. Finish. Go on,
I was
finish. I'm
going to
sorry.
say, because there's the Roth IRA, or brokerage.
All right, so that answer depends. It depends on a few things. It's going to depend on your income. It's going to depend on your age. It's going to depend on when you need the money, right?
Okay.
So all of those things have a place, um, can have a place, but again, I can't give you that answer only because, like, say for a Roth, there's a cap to your income. So I can't say that somebody that makes 300 and something thousand dollars can have a Roth IRA. You cannot, right? There's a income limitation, right? Um, if you all of them can serve a purpose for you. If you are working for a company that has a 401k, 403b, TSP, whatever, if you are in a position where I don't know the number, but it's 100 and something thousand you have to be under. Um, to be able to invest in a Roth IRA. You can have a traditional IRA. Again, it really depends on the three factors that I mentioned,
Okay.
but with considering the age, meaning 50 and above, all of those types of funds offer um, a added benefit of allowing catch-up funds, right? So
Okay.
if you have a Roth IRA, they allow you to put an additional $1,000 in that account if you meet all the income, um, if you meet the income limitations, right?
Okay.
Or requirements. You can put an additional $1,000 in each of those accounts. And some of them will let you, they're different maxes depending on which account. So the catch-up funds is the thing that's most important. If you're over the age of 50, you can put in catch-up funds. Now, I heard you mention a brokerage account. A brokerage account is just a cash account. Now, a cash account that you can invest in. Um,
Okay.
there are no requirements for that. But there's different tax consequences to a regular brokerage account versus tax advantaged account. So again, all
Oh,
of those
okay.
factors come into play.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
So that's why y'all need to get with Miss D and she will
come on,
walk
come on,
walk
y'all.
you
I'm waiting for you. Let's go.
walk you through all this. So what's the biggest financial mistakes, especially women over 50 make, and how can we avoid them besides spending money on rooftop lunches?
Uh, biggest mistakes. All right. So, biggest mistakes, not investing. That's the first one.
Okay.
Um, I don't want to harp on this because we're speaking to people over the age of 50 that may have just started, but I said not investing enough, right?
Okay.
Starting too late.
Yeah.
And when I say too late means I'm gonna start investing today, but I'm retiring next week. That's too late. Unless you done some other way, made a lot of money, all right?
Right.
Um, I would say with your investment, you have to make sure you're investing in solid companies. Too many times I see people, I heard about this new company. We ain't doing that. You invest in solid, strong companies, right? That is the way you grow your wealth because those companies have been here. They will continue to be here, right?
Mhm.
And the other thing is not looking at your investment. So a lot of times I meet with women that they've been invested in something. It maybe have been in the I don't want to say wrong. They could have been investing differently, right? So I don't want you to stay in funds or in investments that are underperforming. And that happens a lot. It happens a lot because people just don't have the education about the things they need to look at
Mhm.
that and look at them every quarter to make sure that your money is doing what you want it to do for you.
Okay.
So you've got to look at your investments. You have to make sure that you're in things that are growing for you and give you some sort of protection along the way and not just sit in investments that someone guided you to or just
Mhm.
threw you in. Unfortunately, a lot of companies will put people into there's something called a target date fund. You may see it as target date fund, or you may see it as a life cycle fund.
Right.
Those typically underperform. I will also say that if you are someone that has again, I'm speaking about I'm sorry, employer sponsored retirement accounts.
Right.
A 401k is regulated pretty well. 403b's are not regulated very well at all. And there's
Oh.
a lot of insurance products within them. Insurance products, I'm gonna give you a technical term, they suck, all right? And y'all can fight me on it if you want to, but I'm gonna win. Um, so you have to make sure you're investing in things that are working toward your good. I've seen people sit in things for years that have been underperforming the market. I'm sorry, had a consultation earlier, so I'm not sure if I mentioned this to you. I think I did. I
Mm.
said that on average, the stock market returns between 8 to 10%.
Right.
That's average,
Right.
okay? It can be 20, 15, 16, whatever, right?
Right.
30%. But there's some people that will sit in investments, not lying, that are negative something, that are 2%, that are 5%, that means you're underperforming. You want to, it's at age 50 and above, you want to put your foot on the gas, but be safe about it,
Okay.
right? Because now you've got less time to grow that money. So you want to be diligent about being in things that are going to grow for you and put you in a better position to be able to retire when you want to and to be able to retire well.
Okay. What about, is it, I always get this backwards, ETFs or is it EFTs?
You you got it right the first time.
ETF.
Exchange traded funds.
Okay.
Yes. Exchange traded funds and I'm sorry, well, I'm messing up. And index funds. That's where you should be, right? In good ones.
Okay.
Um, so I talked about, I'm not going to keep, I mentioned some companies.
Right. Right.
You can own those companies individually. I'm not suggesting that for people that are newer to investing or that are older. I am I own I own a lot of individual companies, but I have a large portfolio, okay? I
Mhm.
suggest for people that are just starting or people that are, in the demographic that we're speaking about to be in funds. Now, Apple, Microsoft, Home Depot, Nvidia, I don't know,
Mhm.
Johnson and Johnson. All of those are individual companies. You can own an exchange traded fund. Now, what that is, it's a basket of stocks. It's
Mhm.
all those same good companies within one fund, right? So instead of me taking my money and say, okay, let's see, I got enough. Give me 5 shares of Apple and 2 shares of something, AbbVie, okay?
Mhm.
Instead of you trying to scrounge up enough money to do that, it costs more money to buy companies individually.
Right.
When you buy them in a fund, right? What
Mhm.
that fund is people like you and me and everybody else out there. We've sent that money into that fund and say, I would like to purchase these shares. So they pool our money together,
Oh, okay.
right? They get all this money together,
Uh-huh.
and the fund manager says, "All right, go buy me 500,000 shares of Microsoft. Go give me 200,000 shares of
Some.
something something. I like something something. That's a good company, right? Go buy me this many shares, and
Mhm.
all of that money, purchase all of those shares in this one big basket, and
Mhm.
you are now an owner of that fund, and you own a piece of every company within that fund. It is a basket of stocks. Okay,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. I didn't realize how you described the pooling the money. That's interesting. I didn't realize that. But yeah, because
Yeah.
that's what I've been really trying to focus on is the ETFs. Uh, I mean, because I do have some individual, but I don't like I don't like to try and figure out how to, is it a good company or is it not? So I do stick to the main ones that you've talked about. But, sometimes I'm like, well, let me try this one just, buy a few shares just to see, just so I get out of that fear of,
Let
investing.
me mention something about this. And do you hear my dog? He's going a little nuts.
Oh, I can't hear because I have dogs too. So I was thinking of mine.
Okay, cool. So, we talked about exchange traded funds, but I'm going to also talk about index funds. It is the
Okay.
same thing, just traded differently. He's barking. It is traded differently.
Uh,
They are also like, say, an S&P 500 fund, right? Index
mhm.
fund. Those are self-healing. And when I say self-healing, like I said, in S&P 500, it is the top 500 US based companies. All
Right.
right. So they maintain being the top 500 US companies. So if the bottom three companies are doing poorly over a quarter or 2 quarters, they kick them out and then they go get three of the next best performing companies. But it will always be the best, the biggest and best 500 US based companies. You don't have to worry about what Apple is doing or what AbbVie is doing or what anybody is doing because it's going to balance out. And that fund is balancing itself anyway. So
Okay.
that removes some of your fear.
Oh,
You don't
okay.
have to do the research like that. Yeah.
So I was going to ask, that's another question I was going to ask. So when you, is it better, and maybe we're getting too deep into this, but is it better to have someone, a physical person, balancing your portfolio or the algorithms? Like for me, through my accounts, the one I'm really thinking of, because they had asked me when I opened it up, do you want someone actually doing your, you know, the funds, blah, 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 whatever the terminology is, or do you want algorithms? I said, which is cheaper? Because when I take my money out, I don't want you taking off with your fees. So I just did the algorithms and it seems like it's been performing well. So what's your opinion on that?
All right. So I just want to make sure that your audience understands the difference between
Okay.
saying a person, right? So a person, Matt, one second. How are you? Okay.
No worries.
Um, okay. So, again, I have people come to me help them balance out their portfolios or put them sorry, give them suggestions about what they should do with their portfolio. All
Right.
right. I don't benefit from this. I get paid from them, but after I've talked with you and we've decided what is going to be best for you, I don't get paid from that. If we're talking about a financial planner or a financial advisor, unless they're fiduciary, there's a good chance they benefit from the things they suggest to you.
Okay.
That's individually, okay?
Okay.
So sometimes they will put you in things that they are going to get paid the most for. That's not necessarily the thing that's best for you. Now that's on the individual side. Now, what you were talking about is it best to own funds that have a fund manager
Okay.
versus buying an index fund where the algorithm, the computer picks it, right? Not what the computer is doing is saying, who are the top companies?
Okay.
So you're looking at an expense ratio. If you
Okay.
have a fund manager, you remember I told you, go buy me 500,000 shares, 300,000 shares.
Mhm.
That fund manager is deciding what to buy and what to sell. You got to pay them. I don't want to pay you. How about I just let the computer do it? Where I can get a lower expense ratio, and all you're gonna do is buy the same companies that this one bought, right?
Right.
Companies don't change. The companies are, you're still looking at the same way do valuation on a company.
Right.
You just got somebody over here that's gonna do the pushing the buttons. I don't need him to push the buttons for me.
Okay. Okay.
Love you, right?
Right.
Right. You go with allowing the lower expense ratios. That's how you save money as well, right? And so what you're doing is the right thing to do.
Okay. Okay. So how does someone figure out their risk tolerance?
If it's gonna keep you up at night, this
Mm.
ain't for you. Your risk tolerance, right? So again, if you're at age 50, you have a shorter time horizon to invest. So you can't go out here just buying speculative willy-nilly stuff, right? Um, you have to decide where you are comfortable with if you want to be aggressive, if you want to be moderately aggressive, if you want to, oh, I just want to buy bonds and hold on to my money and be safe and lose
Mhm.
money. But anyway, um, that's a little bit of my bias, so pardon me. Um, that's an individual thing, and you need to figure out what is going to keep you um, sane and allow you to sleep at night, right? So if it is something highly speculative, that ain't where you need to be. It's
Okay.
not. I don't consider some of the companies that I mentioned to be speculative. Those are companies that are tried and true. And if you are investing in companies that are tried and true, you'll be able to sleep,
Yeah.
right?
And don't look at, like you said before, don't look at your portfolio every day. Because I had to tell my husband that. He's with Southwest, so he's in the 401k and has been with them, for I think he just made 35 years.
Mm,
And I had to tell him, stop looking at your portfolio because,
right.
and I said, and definitely do not sell. Do not sell right now. Do not just, which I mean, you really can't in a 401k, but I said, stop looking at it because you're just, you know, you're making yourself sick by, by looking at it. And, and I told him, I said, it's going to go up and down. It's going to go up and down. You'll be okay. You will be okay.
Uh, I heard a few things, so I want to just
Oh,
correct a
sure.
few
Fix.
things. You
Yes.
can sell in your
You
401k.
can?
Yeah, you can't. You can't like, yeah, you can sell. What,
How?
what, what do you, yeah, I mean,
Well,
you
I'm talking
can,
about,
there's different funds within there should be different
yeah.
funds or different things you can buy within your 401k. So if you've been in this fund and it hasn't been performing the way you want, you can sell that and buy another one. You can sell that and leave it in cash.
Oh, I thought I was always under the impression that with a 401k, because it's managed through your company, that you didn't have the option of picking, that they kind of picked for you. I'm incorrect.
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm glad you said it because this is one of the mistakes that I mentioned earlier.
yeah.
When I spoke about people being put into life cycle funds and oh, life cycle funds and target date. Target date funds, those are the same things. What those are funds that are like if you see in your 401k a fund that says 2025, 2030 fund, the 2035, the 2040,
Mm-hmm.
2060 fund, right?
Mm-hmm.
They are kind of projecting when you may retire. And they're
Okay.
basing that if it's one further out, say 2060, they're going
Mm-hmm.
to be more aggressive with investing. I'm sorry, that fund is more aggressive than a
Right.
fund that is, say, 2040.
Okay.
Okay. Because the time horizon has been shortened for you, right?
Okay.
So, a lot of times folks are put into, are encouraged, or I don't know how they do it, but, kind of nudging people toward being in those funds. If you look at what else you have within your retirement account, you may have better performing funds, and they're not usually not going to be target date funds.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Okay.
So, and you can, I'm not suggesting this, I'm just telling you that you can sell. Sometimes people say, well, I would like to borrow from my 401k. That's a bad mistake. Don't do that if you can avoid it. Some people want to borrow from their 401k. Well, when you borrow from it, you just sold some shares to be able to get that money out,
Right.
right? So you can sell. That's the thing. I forgot the question.
Oh, okay. Okay. I see what you're, yes. Okay. When
Yeah.
I was thinking of, when I was thinking, never mind. I don't know what I was thinking. But thank you for clarifying that. No, thank you for
Okay.
clarifying that because,
Okay. And with
yeah.
him being in the airline industry,
Uh-huh.
um, do you manage you guys funds? Do you
We
do
manage it together. I'm the one who learns more about it than he does. But what were you going to say? Because hopefully we already fixed this problem. What were you going to say?
when last you looked at it? Have you looked at his
Hmm.
options?
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay. All right. Any target date funds?
I don't think his was a target date fund. No,
All right. Well,
no.
when we get off this call later on, you go look.
Okay, I will look. But I know
All right.
one thing we did change is because, and this was maybe about 10 years ago now, most of his most of his money were going into the Southwest stocks, which were underperforming. And he kept saying, why isn't it growing? Blah, blah, blah. So we basically sold off a lot of, not sold off, but you know what I'm saying? We sold it and then
Bought something else.
bought something else.
Okay.
And that has helped a lot because he was like, it's not, it was a whole thing.
So I want to speak to that, right? Again, I worked for AT&T for 30 years, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people say, well, I work for the company, I know the company, it's a good company. Do not leave your money in your company stock. My company would give me an 80% match, okay? And that 80% match is, let me make sure, yes, was in company stock, all right? My other money that I invested, I don't want it in company stock because what if something happens with that one company,
Yeah.
right? Same thing when I said you don't want to worry about what happens with this company and that company and that. It's the same holds true for the company you work for. So if I can own shares of the companies I mentioned and also work for this company, they're
Hmm.
matching me in this company stock. That's fine, but I'm also invested in other companies. Well,
Right,
I don't care what happens in that industry. Travel is going to be down for a little bit.
right,
You don't want your I'm going to get off your company.
right,
I worked for AT&T, right? I didn't want at one point in time AT&T stock sucked, right? And I watched it go down. I
right.
didn't Thank God I didn't just have it there. Think about companies that go completely out of business. A lot of people had their money in Enron stock or
Yeah.
in
Oh,
uh,
that was awful. I felt
right?
so bad.
And MCI WorldCom,
Yeah,
right? This It's possible. You don't
yeah,
want your money
and
in
all.
only one company, and certainly not the company that you work for. Um, Again, people are being laid off. So if you lose your job, your
Mhm.
company is bringing in less money, your stock is going to tank. You don't want all of your anything tied up into the company you work
Right.
for.
So that's basically diversifying with in your portfolio.
Absolutely.
Basically.
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct. Yeah.
Um, how can dividends pay out investments? How can dividend paying investments help create a steady stream of income?
I mentioned that I am an investor. What I didn't say is that I am a dividend growth investor. All right. And this is not for everyone, right?
Uh-huh.
Um, if you guys don't know what a dividend is, it is an amount of money that a certain companies, dividend paying companies, will pay you just for owning their shares. That's it. It usually comes from established companies that no longer have to put much money into research and development. They don't have to put money into product growth or whatever, right? So now we got all this cash. I don't know, pay them a little bit. That's what it is. They're paying you to be a shareholder. All
Hmm.
right. So um, if you've ever talked to someone at work or whatever, just talk to somebody and they say, yeah, my daughter's getting married and I'm gonna pay for the wedding or I'm gonna buy them a car or put down the down payment on their home or whatever the case, right?
Hmm.
Usually that is from people that have a large amount of dividend income coming in.
Wow.
If you remember the game Monopoly. Monopoly is not a game. Monopoly is how you invest. Next time you play Monopoly, look at what's on the board. They tell you to buy real estate.
Right.
They tell you to put a house on the real estate. They tell you to, you got four houses? Now buy a hotel. Put a hotel on there, right? They tell you to buy utilities.
Right.
They tell you to pay your
Railroads.
taxes, right?
Railroads. Yeah.
And then if you pull one of those chance cards, that chance card says the bank pays you dividends,
Hmm.
right? So if you own companies that pay dividend growth, I'm sorry. If you own dividend paying companies,
Hmm.
and there are different categories. So there is a dividend king,
Hmm.
dividend aristocrat, there's a dividend contender, there's a dividend something else that I don't care about. Uh, a dividend, again, they pay you money just for owning the company. So most companies pay you dividends quarterly, every 3 months.
Hmm.
Some companies will pay you a dividend every month, like say a REIT, a real estate investment trust. All right.
Hmm.
Um, Say if you had 100 shares at the beginning of the year, and then, all right, here's your dividend check. They sent you the money. Uh, Now I got to tell you about how you can receive them. If they sent you a dividend and you said, don't send it to me. I want you to buy me more shares of that company. So
Gonna
instead of
ask you about
100
that.
shares,
Hmm.
now you got 103 shares. Okay.
Okay.
So the next quarter, they're not going to pay you on 100. They're going to pay you on 103. So instead of 103, now you got 107 shares.
Okay.
That is how you build a snowball and grow your wealth.
I
All
was going to
right.
ask you about that because I reinvest my dividends.
Yeah, that's the word.
Okay.
Reinvest your dividends. You
Okay.
can do three things with dividends. One, you can say, send the money to me, put it in my hand. All
Mhm.
right. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. You can do two, reinvest your dividends. All right. Thank you for, don't send it to me. I appreciate it. Uh, but look here, the money you gave me, the Apple dividends that you have, buy me more shares of Apple. That's the snowball. The next one is don't buy Apple. Don't send it to me. Don't buy Apple. I want you to buy me some Microsoft
Oh,
shares. Okay. Those are the three things you can do with dividends. Now,
oh,
earlier I mentioned if you see somebody that just, I'm going to pay for my daughter's wedding, I'm going to put them down payment on my son's home. Usually that is with dividend checks. Those people have so much money. I am in groups where their monthly dividend income is $100,000, $90,000, $80,000. If you have that many shares of something, you have that much wealth. I don't know what to do with this at this point. Who getting married? Here, go to college, get good grades, leave me alone. Right? Here's your wedding gift. Don't that boy better not divorce you. Get on out of here, right? That is what when you see people do that, usually they're using their dividend checks to do it.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to schedule a consultation with you because I have other questions that
Let's make that money. Let's do it. Mhm.
So what's the difference between high dividend yield and sustainable one?
Mhm. All right, you cannot be enticed. There's a dividend yield. So I talked about the cost of living. I think the cost of living is 2 point something right now. I forget. I think it's 2.2, right? So that is how much things are inflation. That is how much things are costing more each year,
Right.
right? You have to be able to keep up with that. So you don't want with dividends, you'll see something say, oh, they're going to give me a 9% yield. Give it here. It's not sustainable. All right. You do not want a really high dividend yield. If you can do somewhere between 3 to 5, let me do it this way, 2 to 5%, that is sustainable. When I say sustainable, companies just don't have the money to be paying out 9%, 11% to
Okay.
all of that they will not be able to do that. They're gonna go out of business. Okay.
Okay.
And if you see something with a high dividend yield, it is going to be more risky, and
Mhm.
there's a good chance they're gonna stop paying dividends at some point, right?
Oh, okay.
I'll give you my example in 2021, 2021, the
Mm.
pandemic. A lot of company, not a lot, some companies did three things. They either reduced their dividend payout, some of them stopped their dividend payout, right? And some of them, and I should have mentioned this earlier when I mentioned dividend kings and aristocrats, some of them kept on paying. But let me talk about dividend kings. A dividend king is a company that not only pays out a dividend, they increase their dividend for the past 50 years.
Wow.
Johnson and Johnson, AbbVie, Abbott Laboratories, Procter and Gamble, these are kings. There's other kings, right? There are dividend aristocrats that not only paid out a dividend, they increased their dividend for the past 25 years. So think about it like this. If you guys work, um, think about the raise that your company gave you.
Hmm.
Did your raise, if you've been with your company 30 years, did they give you a raise every 30 years? I'm sorry. Every year for the past 50 years? Did they give you a raise for the past, every year for the past 25 years? That's how you give yourself a raise with dividend investing. You invest in companies that increase their dividend, not just pay out a dividend. That means they're keeping up with the cost of living and you're getting a raise just by doing nothing. What did you do? I bought it one time and them jokers keep sending me money. I appreciate it. And as long as they sign and you're putting your name right on the check, that's where you want to be.
Okay. Hmm. Yeah, we got to talk. Because
All
I have a
right.
lot more
Okay.
questions that
Sure, sure.
so can financial coaching help folks reset their financial life? And what
Hmm.
should they look for in a coach?
Um, Answer, absolutely yes. Right. They should look for someone. I'm I'm about to toot my own horn a little
Put
bit
it.
here. Uh, as I said, I worked for a company for 30 years and 16 days, right?
Hmm.
And I didn't say, all right, I'm going to retire on this date. My company tried to get rid of me.
Okay.
I said, that's fine. You can get rid of me, but you're not going to get rid of me until I secure all of my benefits, right? Now, I've been retired since January of 2019. That means that I've not had steady income since January 2019. I have not touched my retirement accounts. All right. Now, some of that, I do have some rental income, but it's not enough for me to, not now. I've sold off some of my properties. It's not enough for me to just live off of my rental income. I've put myself in a position where again, I don't have to touch my money, right?
Okay.
And to be able to do that means I done two or three things right. So the first thing I would say is to make sure that the person that you go to has done a few things right, and not just a few things, more than a few things. A lot of times, I will see financial planners and what do you think people go? Anyway, you know who I'm talking about. I've seen them not be doing well. I don't want somebody who has a couple $100,000 trying to show me how to be a millionaire,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
I need billionaire guidance at this point, or I need at least multi-millionaire, more than me,
Right.
uh, guidance. So you need someone that knows what they're doing and they've been doing it for a long time, right?
Hmm.
I unfortunately see folks out here that uh, are just learning or doing okay for themselves. Uh, I, I just want someone that's going to be able to guide me better than I can guide myself, or that's been doing it long enough to be able to weather certain storms, you know?
Okay.
And so I would say you need someone that is not just talking the talk, but they walk in the walk, right?
Hmm.
Someone that can look at your individual situation and put you and not benefit from it either, right?
Okay.
Again, I meet with people, I'm saying one time, but I do have people that come back to me like every quarter or just come back for a tweak. They're not coming back to me because I didn't do something right. They coming back to me because they at another level now, right?
Okay.
Um, so um, I'm not a lot of the investments that my clients are in, I'm in. I'm not gonna put you in something that I wouldn't do, right? And you need that person needs to understand what happens for you with a tax liability situation. They need to understand when you need your money
Hmm.
and when you can touch it and where you can be able to touch it when you need to touch it, right? So if they can't guide you through those things, I would say that that's not the person that you need,
Okay.
right?
So, how does someone know if they need a coach or a financial advisor or both?
That was the word I was looking for, advisor and planner. Again, I'm sorry, I'm trying to be kind here. A lot of financial advisors and planners will benefit from what they're putting you in. When I say I set you up a plan, you go do the plan. I don't get anything else. You already paid me.
Okay.
If an advisor or a planner puts you in something that they get a commission off of,
Mhm.
that they're not working to your good. Sometimes they're working to benefit themselves.
Okay.
Okay. And so you need to, unless they're fiduciary, meaning they get paid fee simple, you just pay them a fee and they give you the best plan for you and you go off and do your thing.
Okay.
Right. But
Okay.
if they benefit in any way, that's not who you want. Right. Um, I mentioned something about insurance earlier. A
Hmm.
lot of times they are putting you in insurance-based products. Insurance to me is not an investment vehicle.
No.
It's just not. Uh, And so if you're in things like that, those are the wrong places for you to be. Okay.
It's funny because I
And
talked to a, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, no, you're fine. Go on.
No, I was going to say it's funny that you talked about the insurance portion of it because I talked to a lady the other day and she was trying to convince me to get into annuities. And I don't know enough about annuities to say yes or no. So I listened to her speech and I said, well, thank you. I mean, I know a little bit, but not enough to feel comfortable putting my money anywhere. I said, because I wouldn't say an overly aggressive investor, but I also know that it losing a little bit of money doesn't scare me because I know it's going to bounce back. So
There
I
you
was like,
go.
well, thank you for the information. And, I kept it pushing because I just don't feel comfortable
Right.
to say yes to something like that. And she did talk about insurance type investment.
Okay. I'm not asking you who it was. I just need you to think don't say it, right?
Okay.
But I want you to tell me who was this to you or where did they come from?
A referral.
Annuities suck.
That's what I've
Okay.
heard. Yeah.
It's very hard to get out of them and they
Oh,
cap your money,
yes,
right?
she
And
did say that.
again, I'm going to say it again. If the person benefits from you putting your money certain places, that ain't where you need to be. And annuities are insurance products, right?
Right.
Insurance products, all of those things do the same thing. And I understand that was a referral to you. I hope that person is not watching. But that means that they possibly get a benefit for the referral.
Okay.
That's not anybody. If anyone mentions an annuity to you, this is not where you need your money to be.
Okay. I'll let my husband know that too because he was talking about, well, maybe once I retire, do the annuity. And I have never really felt comfortable. Just
Mhm.
something was like, but his dad is an annuity. I think his dad's an annuity, but his dad's much older, so he felt
Some
comfortable.
companies set them up for folks and they can't get out of them. Or I mean, sorry, you can get out, but you have to pay a surrender fee. And I've actually suggested to people to get rid of, depending on how long they've had it or whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
to take the loss and we're gonna do something different. Because I promise you, I can grow your money better than that thing ever will.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
All right, I will let him know that then.
right.
Um, That was it. That is all the questions I have, and it's been amazing, and I have learned so much. But I definitely will be scheduling a consultation with you because I have many other questions, and I'm gonna have to write them down, so I'll have them not off the top of my head.
Okay,
But
okay.
thank you again, Dee, for coming on and speaking to us about
Yes.
this very important subject. It's really important.
Oh, you're
Uh,
quite welcome.
and if you guys want to get in contact with Dee, I will have her information in the description below, but please hit
Yes.
her up if you have any questions about investing. And you didn't even go into your day trading because I know that's your own
I don't
personal.
suggest that for anybody. You got to have a good stomach for that,
You do.
especially
Yeah.
with the way the market's being manipulated right now.
I can't even imagine. But yeah, so you guys hit her up and get a consultation, especially if you the 50 something, you probably need to talk to her. At least get some
Yeah.
advice, get some coaching.
Come to Brown Girls Invest too.
Yep, yep. I will be
.com.
yeah, but her information will be in the description below, you guys. So check her out and check out her YouTube channel. She has a lot of good information on there as well. So thank you guys for joining us. Please remember to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I will see you again next week. Thank you
Great.
guys.
Thank you so
Bye.
much. Have a great one.